Good morning, guys. Today's lesson is a continuation of linear inequalities. So in our last lesson, we looked at graphing linear inequalities. They're similar to linear equations, except for that our solution includes anything either above or below the line. Sometimes includes the line, sometimes doesn't. And so now we're going to continue that idea by learning how to write these kinds of problems from word problems. In my opinion, this is one of the most real-life applicable concepts because you're almost always going to be dealing with money and how much of something you can spend based on how much money you have. And so that really comes into play. It's like you can spend no more than $50. That's an inequality. You can spend less than $50, but you can't spend more than $50. And so this is a great lesson for just us to be able to kind of visualize and understand the math behind it so that you can understand the thought process when you are working. So let's dive in. Your learning goal for today is to write linear inequalities from verbal descriptions, so looking at words. To do that, we're going to need to identify the important information. It's going to be like the y-intercept or the slope, or it could also be two rates and a total. So this is similar to writing linear equations from word problems, but now it's just inequality. Okay, we're going to have to be able to identify which inequality symbol based on the keywords and then write that inequality in standard form. You're actually mostly tested in standard form here. So standard form being ax plus by equals c, right? Normally it would be equals c, but we could also see it as greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So those are kind of the options that we could have there. I'll box them in green, right? We need one of those things to fill in. So at the bottom right here, I'm circling in green. These are some key phrases that will tell you which symbol to use. So let's look at all of them for this first symbol. Label it in pink, right here. Okay, that symbol just by itself to me looks like greater than or equal to. So let's talk about which of these words go with greater than or equal to. Some key phrases you will see here is greater than or equal to, just like it is, but you could also see at least. So it says if this and this is at least the total, then it needs to be at the very least that one, but it could be bigger. So one for the greater than be there, smaller than, less than or equal to, no less than. Where do you think that one would go? If it can be no less than 50, say no less than 50, can it be bigger than 50? Yeah, 50 is the smallest it could be. If it's at most 50, well then that's the biggest it could be. No more than. Okay, so these are just some examples of words we could see. These are the kind of key phrases for inequality symbols. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example to help us out. In example one, first thing we should always do is read the problem and then look to maybe highlight or underline some important words. So Cheyenne has two ways to buy music. She can buy albums on CD from the local music store for $13 each, or she can download albums from the internet for $10 each. If she can spend no more than $150 on music, write a linear inequality to represent the situation where she buys C CDs and downloads D albums. So it tells us which letters to use. So I'm going to go ahead and write down my important information. So C equals CDs, D equals downloads. And then I think we were given some other information about that. It says the CDs is $13. The downloads were $10. Okay, the total she can spend is $150, but it actually says she can spend no more than. So what's the biggest amount she can spend? $150. Can she spend less than $150? Yeah. So the total can't be, it's not equal to $150. It's going to be less than or equal to $150. She can't spend more than $150. So whatever she's buying on the left-hand side where she's buying things, it cannot exceed that $150. So let's go ahead and take that information then and write it in a standard form. So 13 would be my rate in front of my letter, plus my rate for the downloads, and it can't be bigger than 150. It can be equal to 150. She can spend 150, but she can't spend more than 150. The best way that I like to do this is kind of just walk through it. No more than 150. So I'm going to give myself some examples. Okay. If she can spend no more than 150, can she spend 200? Nope, that's more than 150. Can she spend $100? Yeah, because that's less than 150. So I kind of use that to help me figure out which symbol I should use. All right, we're going to get lots of practice with this today. One more example for you. This is straight from a STAR problem. It'll sometimes have you fill in the blanks. So here you're being asked to fill in the rates, the sign, and the total. So all from a word problem. So let's read it and see if we can fill in the blanks. You can see we only have 2 options. So that's super nice on this problem. So a customer is ordering keychains and mugs from an online store. Each keychain costs $8. Each mug costs $12. That's going to be my important information. It says each, so we know those are the rates. Okay, it tells me to use, I can see down here, keychains is X and mugs is Y. So I'll go ahead and label that down at the bottom in just a second. But the customer receives free shipping in the amount of the order if the amount is over $50. Write an inequality to show that. So keychain, it says to use X, and that is $8 each. Mugs says to use Y, and that is $12 each. And to get free shipping, has to be over $50. Greater than $50, it cannot be $50, which is how I know it's this symbol. Okay, so plugging in, I know I need the 8 and the 12. I have to make sure that my 8 goes with my X and my 12 goes with my Y. So 8X, 12Y, you can see those are both numbers there. You can see they put a 20 on there to kind of confuse us. We don't want that one. And we want this symbol bigger than 50. Okay, so that kind of helps us a little bit. You want to take the information straight from the problem. Don't pay attention to anything else. The only tricky part is which symbol to use. We're going to get practice with that concept today. Let your teacher know if you have any questions.